So a lot of people are curious about the NVIDIA stock. This company's stock has been making rapid price movements. Sometimes it shoots above 140 and sometimes it falls below 120. New investors and some potential investors are wondering, is this a stock they should jump into? Is this going to be something that's going to be for the coming years? What can they, and ultimately, are they going to beat the returns of the S&P 500? I hope to answer all these questions in today's video. And before I get started, please like and follow. So these are NVIDIA's current metrics. For us to get an estimate of what the stock price could be by 2030, we need to get an idea of what these figures will look like by 2030. If we take a look at NVIDIA's revenue, 5 years ago it was $10 billion to today being $113 billion. That is a 10x return over the last 5 years. But majority of its revenue gains came 5 quarters, meaning the start of 2023, maybe the end of 2024. And this is obviously because of OpenAI's chatbot that really accelerated the need for everyone to develop their technology. And since NVIDIA was the only option on the market, everyone started buying NVIDIA chips and ultimately has been having this amazing surge. Now, if you take a look, the growth rate immediately went from negative 13 to 100 to 200 to 200. It's been above 100% for the last 6 quarters. Can this continue for the foreseeable future? Well, let's take a look at what some of the analysts are saying. So when we just do a simple Google search, what Google Gemini model tells us that it's going to create an additional 600 to $1 trillion in revenue in the next 5 years from today to 2030, which means an about 200 billion average for the next 5 years. When I started looking at some of the articles, they kind of reiterate the same sentiment that this company is going to an additional 600 billion from now to 2030. And if you keep going, this sentiment is repeated again and again on few articles. So if you were to take all that into account, so that means it would have a 20% growth for the next 5 years, which is a compound growth of 144%. Now, let's add that number in here and see what that makes. That means NVIDIA's revenue will be $281 billion in 2030. I think that's not bad. That's pretty good. Now let's take a look at the number of outstanding shares. Is it going to decrease, increase, or decrease that number? It has been buying back these shares very aggressively since July of 2022. Before its stock shot up, it was buying back about 1.5% of the company. Since the stock price has surged, it's been only able to do about 0.5, 0.6, 0.5 again for the last 4 quarters. So I'm going to give a guesstimate here and say that it's going to be able to decrease its number of outstanding shares by 3% over the next 5 years. I think that's being a little optimistic, but I think it can pull it off. It can't maintain a 50 PE. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going to say, no, it can. It's not going to. It's going to have fierce competition and its PE is going to slow down to about 37. It's still going to be the market leader in my opinion. I don't think there's anyone that can actually beat its product and services even 5 years from now. Profit margin, again, just don't see it maintaining 55. I think it's going to be in the high 37s because it's going to have to reinvest a lot of that to keep up with the rate of innovation. So I'm going to say 37% again, which would give us an intrinsic value of 160 by year 2030, which means if you spent the same money invested in the S&P 500, you would get $205. This stock on paper, according to the analyst expectations and its revenue and its profit, it does not look like a good buy. For you to 2x your money, you would have to buy this stock at $80. Now, to me, this does seem like a fair estimate. At the same time, I want to also give it a bull case as well. A lot of people, especially around the NVIDIA community, feel like they can surpass Apple's revenue, which is at 400 billion right now. So let's say it can. Let's say Apple and NVIDIA can hit 600 billion, which is a 300% return from now. No, actually, that's 400. Nope, that's 500% return from today's revenue. Yeah, so 500% return from today's revenue. Because this is just us theorizing. This is no hard data, no hard fact, general sentiment, and that's what the stock is being priced for. In that case, then the stock is worth $387, which means you will get a 2x return at today's stock price of $137. So here's my thoughts on the situation. Right now, NVIDIA is having an extreme surge in revenue off of one fact and one fact alone: no competition. Once there is some serious competition, its pricing power will decrease. Number two, I understand that NVIDIA has this insane NCUDA style software that everyone is pretty much hamstringed to. But if there is a cheaper alternative, I think people are willing to try it. And if they're not willing to completely adapt to it, at least they'll have some of their products and services through that software because of cost saving. I don't think you'll lose money, but I think there is a bit of an uphill battle with this stock. It's already being priced to perfection. And when a stock is being priced to perfection, it just needs to surpass the most wildest forecasts to actually give an adequate return to its investors. In my personal opinion, I would avoid this stock altogether. But what I would say this, I don't think you'll lose money on this stock. Even though the analysis says that you'll underperform if it meets analyst expectation, I don't think that's gonna be. I think that's more of a bear case, if I'm being honest. I think at the very least, it will match the returns of the S&P 500. You should really look for new opportunities because you'll find way better opportunities than this stock that's already been priced to perfection. You're betting the stock being sold at a higher multiple than today for you to have an adequate return on your investment. I just don't think that is a good position to be in. Barely beat the S&P 500. Why are we picking individual stocks? Why not just invest in the S&P 500 and take out the guesswork? But anyways, guys, that's my 2 cents on the situation. If you like this video, found this video helpful, please like, follow, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.